Good evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you may be, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a quite relaxed, fun, just chilling out stream. We don't really have a topic for today, so we'll just find out what happens. Hi, Skeletor Siski, and I have two guests with me. One of them you've probably seen him staring through your window, and that would be Andy. Hi, Andy.
Hello, everybody.
And of course,
I don't know why that was funny.
well, yeah, I mean, often the truth is the funniest. And yes, and Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Haven't learned to be quite so cruel to Chris because he doesn't join us quite so often. Hi, everyone coming in. CG Rooster. Hey, Mama Pat. I hope you're doing well at the moment. I know you've had some difficult times recently, so I hope it's looking on the up. Yes, hey, Teresa. We're all here on a Sunday. So. Yes, we've got a panel, I suppose we could call ourselves that, or is that too grandiose?
No, I don't think so. And I can take one of those insulty intros. I can take it.
Wait, you're from...
Wouldn't it be funny
Well,
it'd be like Brent on The Office, where he goes, just pretend that you're just having a go and I'll just roll with it. I'll show you how to go with the insults. The Swindon lot don't seem to respect you. That's rubbish. And it's not true. Right, I'm going in there.
I will not have her tunnel bandied around this office. Anyway.
People are laughing at heels on your shoe. I'm not going to be wearing the shoes.
Don't see heels like that much anymore.
You can still find them.
Right, we've started and all we're doing is quoting The Office. If you guys haven't watched the UK version of The Office, it's an absolute
If you haven't watched the UK version of The Office,
get out.
leave.
Get out. No.
I've got laughter to bring. Go on, get out.
Yeah. I'm a friend first, boss second, probably an entertainer third. I'm literally reading that from the poster I have in the corner of my room, which, Andy knows about.
Adam literally masturbates to pictures of Ricky Gervais on an hourly basis,
Right,
I'd say.
Probably does. Ugh.
I don't masturbate to Ricky Gervais. I just think he's a comedy genius.
I caught you masturbating to Ricky Gervais.
Well, how did you catch me when it was your hand doing the masturbation for me?
Because you asked me to do it, still masturbating.
Yeah, I said, look, my hand's covered in blisters. Can you help me out, sir? Anyway, is there any particular topic that you fine gentlemen would like to speak about this evening?
Your masturbation habit.
I used to be a 10 a day man, but I've cut down.
Wow, 10 times a day? Are you kidding?
No, I'm joking. It's from an old joke about it's sort of confusing smoking and wanking, but I didn't tell it very well. No. Well, if you
dehydrated.
If you must know, normally once or twice a day for a treat.
I've got a sort of topic which isn't. It's just something that I thought about in relation to something that happened to me last night, and it's a topic that we can all relate to with regard to recent events and whatnot. It's about forgiveness.
Okay.
I don't want to get too serious because we wanted to have a laugh, but basically, I went to a friend's birthday party last night. It was his 40th. There was a Facebook group set up. I don't like the guy. I've known him for 20 years, but I've come to the conclusion about 10 years ago that he wasn't worth having as a friend. He's a bit of a bully, quite aggressive, quite lazy, gets into trouble, causes fights with people, knocks women around, financially ruins them, emotionally destroys them. Just a wanker. But
Jesus.
I know that there's a good part of him trying to get out, so I always had a bit of time for him. And he got to the point last night where there was like I said, there was a Facebook group set up. So I went to the thing and nobody turned up. There was like me and two others in an empty room. And he was still being a dick with me, like with people like you guys, have a go at me and stuff. But I know it's banter. I know you don't really think I'm a paedophile. But the point is, it's fun. And with him, he does it like when he takes the piss, I know that there's maliciousness behind it. In other words, he's not changed in 20 years. He's been in and out of prison. He's lost a load of friends. He's been declared bankrupt. His girlfriend, I feel really, she is CG. his girlfriend, I feel really sorry for him because both of them really, because he's just got her on like a hook, where she's like trapped, and I'm like thinking, and it was his birthday today, and I went out last night, and despite the fact that I was one of only 3 people that turned up, he still made me feel like shit, and I didn't enjoy the night, and I'm thinking like, well, obviously I've got to make the decision as a person to fuck him off as a friend, because if somebody continually makes you feel bad, even if they're a family member, you have to let them cut them loose. Yeah. But like, where does forgiveness come into it? Like, do I forgive him for being a twat, or pity him because he's never been able to change? Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, no, I do. I think sometimes, like you said, he hit his missus around. It would have been at that point, I would have been like, I don't want to be friends with this person.
But let's just say you were in the position I was in, and you knew that he'd, hit former partners around. Would you not go to his birthday party based on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't have anything to do with him again. If I knew a man hit a woman, I wouldn't want anything to do with them. I don't want someone like that in my life.
No, I understand, but what if somebody did that and like realised the errors of his ways and changed?
Yeah, maybe.
Did he show you, or did he tell you that?
No, I don't think he has. I'm just theorising.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna have to show me change. I don't believe a fucking word anybody says with their mouths. Excuse my language.
No, I agree. I mean, to be fair, I felt like a bit of a fool for going, to be honest, because there was a part of me that thought, I mean, the thing is, he's got genuine mental health problems now. I can see it in his eyes. I can spot it a mile off. But the problem is, those mental health problems are all self-induced because of the life he decided to lead. He's had opportunities. He's had lots of good friends. And he decides he's one of them people. I mean, me and my friend were talking about this when I give him a lift home, and we were slagging him off basically in the car, going, why has he never changed? Why has he never been able to become a better person? He seems to lack empathy. He seems to be a sociopath, and that he just seems to lack this ability to put himself in the place of other people. Now, does that mean that that's like an inherent flaw that he can't be held responsible for? I refuse to believe that, I think people are just assholes and there's no excuse.
Well, I think empathy is undervalued, and I think some people don't have it at all, like psychopaths and sociopaths and stuff. But
if they lack that ability to empathise, is that not a massive hindrance? And should we not at that point give them a little bit of leeway? Does that make any sense?
No, I don't think you should give them any leeway.
No. I know some people's brains are wired differently, but that's not an excuse for their actions. It's like saying, should we accept paedophiles because that's their sexual preference? It's like, I'm sorry, but as a developed race, or I mean, the whole human race, rather than the animal world, we should be, and I get it, like perhaps someone who has a mental handicap will not have the same amount of empathy as others. And empathy is something that's ingrained. However, I think it's your mate. He's not been sectioned, has he? He's not been cared.
Well, he was. He was.
What does section mean?
But it doesn't mean... Sorry, there's a power in the law in England which gives law enforcement officers if someone's insane, you section them under the Mental Health Act, and you can basically take away the liberty of freedom for their safety and other people's. He was sectioned under the Mental Health Act. But you know what's really weird? He tells you about it like it's a badge of honour.
Well, that just shows you he doesn't fully understand.
No, he's a complete
social disconnect.
He's a complete fucking arsehole, and I don't say that lightly. He's one of the worst people that I know. But I've known him for 20 years, and we have been through some shit together, and he wasn't always a complete arsehole. He used to be a decent lad who had a bit of a temper, who used to get into a bit of bother. And over the years, he's got worse and worse, and his problem has been that whenever something goes wrong, well, not necessarily something goes wrong, he always puts the weight of his problems on his partner. And because he's a bit lazy and hasn't had enough about him to become independent, he needs a woman he can't survive without a woman. Basically, about 3 months ago, he was he was kind of without her and threatening suicide on social media and all this kind of stuff. That's what
that's
being
fucked.
Without her.
But I'm really sorry to interject, but I'm so sick of this "the world owes me something" mentality, and it's always everyone else's fault but mine. And
nobody
if I
has
don't
coping skills anymore.
What happened to people being decent people? You know, like fucking.
We're just talking about someone that I know, CG. It's not, obviously, I'm not going to be saying names. It's just somebody that I have known for 20 years. That's all. Nobody famous. Nobody. No pornographer.
Just someone from Andy's special club in. I was going to say where you live. I think most people know, don't they? So it's fine. In Manchester. Is that all right? They're not going to find you.
Yeah, I mean, good luck finding an insane person in Manchester.
But yeah, no, I'm so sick of like, this kind of mentality. The world owes me something, and if things don't go my way, I'm going to kill myself. What? I mean, does this guy not have any family or friends?
He's alienated. His dad died about 10 years ago. He wasn't close to anyway. His brother hates him, and his mum is I don't know the exact ins and outs, but I'm pretty sure he got done by the police for some kind of offence against his mum.
Oh wow!
He didn't hit her or anything. I think he damaged something.
Well, see, I had a friend who did hit his mum, and I cut him out of my life. I was like, no, I don't want to be friends with someone like that. And I was used to seeing him around.
I'm explaining him to you two guys who are decent chaps, and I come from a rough part of England. Not rough, like, there's worse, but I come from a potentially colourful part of Manchester, so there are a lot of unruly characters. It's a miracle I've turned out as good as I have. And now that I'm saying it to you two, it's made me realise just how much of a complete tosspot this guy is.
Well, there was one thing...
kind of everything that you can imagine that a person's done, like abused women, been nasty to his family, he's stole money off people, he's walked around with a badge of honour that I've been
friend?
Yeah, Andy, just don't fucking be his mate anymore.
What was that, sorry?
Why are you his friend? It took 20 years for you to realize this, or you just been sitting in the sidelines watching this guy self-destruct?
No, no, hear me out. I've known him for 20 years, yeah?
Yeah.
I cut him out of my life 10 years ago. That's the point when he started to turn worse. He's always had a bit, like, when I first met him, he was a decent lad, but a bit of a temper. And he got worse and worse as the years went on, and I kept giving him chance after chance, and he'd say, you know, you're my best mate and all this. And then it got to the point where I realised, I just made a decision and thought, you know what, this guy will never change. And he's got worse and worse.
Yeah, I think when you first started talking about him, I want to get off this subject pretty quick because we don't want to spend 20 minutes talking about your mate being a tosser. But
no, okay.
When you first started talking about him, though, you said, like, when he kind of, you know, we take the piss and we say stuff like, you're a paedophile. And if there was any truth in that, I wouldn't say it, but I wouldn't be friends with you if I thought you really were. But I know people that, you know, there's me and my mates, we all take the piss out of each other and nothing is off limits. Like, I play games with Steph all the time and I'm like...
Dude, nothing is off limits at all.
And it's always...
yeah, we've all got dark sense of humour, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm downloading something, like, I'm going to download your mum. And it's like, but that's fine between mates. The difference is when people start making fun of each other and there's a vindictiveness to it. When they actually, when they hone in on your insecurities and start making fun of that because you know it's something you're insecure about, then that person's a tosser.
That's exactly what he did last night. I've mentioned it before. There's a rather unpleasant video of me on YouTube. Not like unpleasant as in...
I've seen it, but no one else is allowed to, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
you're in the gimp
it's not
mask.
That bad, but it wasn't a nice situation to be in, and he was consistently bringing it up last night and trying to get it on his phone, and it was just like, why? And I like snapped at him numerous times. I said, "What the fuck are you playing at? I don't need to see this." Do you know what I mean? And it was like, for fuck's sake, man. And I just at that point,
did you not just say, like, look, two fucking people have turned up. Do you want to make it one?
I know. I know.
If someone's being that vindictive with you, then I think you've got the absolute right to do it back.
The fact that you just showed up to his birthday, regardless of everything you just said, like, shows that you have a heart. That there's a part of you that is compassion, and I think maybe there's a part of you that would rather him be okay, and you guys can just like go your separate ways. But I think that it's a testament to your level of compassion, because I think that underline all the things he does, I think you think in his head that there's something wrong and he needs help.
He does,
like legit help.
Yeah, I also understand that I don't know what it is, but he just doesn't have the ability to change, really.
No, I think some people don't, though.
You got to get as far away from those people as possible.
Agreed. You have to come to a decision. And this is why, turning up to his birthday for like 1 hour or whatever it was, it isn't a problem to me. But obviously I'm not part of his life anymore. And I know that I've done the right thing, because I remember we met up about 3 years ago. A local rugby team were playing a game, and him and his missus were like having a laugh with me and all that. And they could, because I'm a great guy, they were like, "Oh, you should come out with us tomorrow and all this." And he was messaging me going, "Come up our place and do it." And I was like, "No, see you later." And then he started messaging me a couple of like, not offensive, but quite unpleasant messages, as if to say, "Why are you shunning us?" Well, it's like, why would I want to hang about with you? Why?
No, I think
that's why no one turned up.
You can have empathy to people to an extent, but if you're not getting anything back from those people, then what's the point?
Oh, completely, yeah. It's a two-way thing, isn't it? It's like relationships. If it's like we were talking about it yesterday, Adam, like with unconditional love and stuff like that. With a friend, with true friends, there is a certain amount of unconditional love, but you can still care about them, but you'd still have to get them out of your life, because you have to look out for yourself primarily, and that's not being selfish. At the end of the day, you've got to look after your own best interests, and if other people can't look after themselves, you have to walk away.
Yeah,
it's not being selfish.
No, it's not. It's not. I don't think that's not showing a lack of empathy. That's just going, do you know what? I don't need someone like that in my life. So yeah, no, it's not being cruel. It's just doing the best thing. Mama Pat's just said, like, she learned years ago from a situation like this that you have to forgive someone, but you need to let them know you're doing it for yourself, not for them. Which is a nice way to look at it, but if someone always is a dick to you, then why do you want them as a friend? And I think we get to choose our friends, we don't get to choose our family. I think that's where, when we were talking about unconditional love yesterday, we sort of had we were almost on the same page, but not quite, not for the first time. And I was saying, well, unconditional love only really exists within families, because a mother's love for her child, that will always be unconditional. You could come home and have murdered someone.
I love all children like that.
Right. You love all children unconditionally. As long as they're a child, then Andy loves you. Hey kids, I can help with your homework.
I'm just a shining, glowing light of unconditional love.
But like, and you can have unconditional. You could say, like, let's take you and I, Andy. We've spoken for years. You could say we have an unconditional love, but we might fall out of contact when, I become a massive famous YouTuber and you're living on the streets.
Exactly, yeah. You surely, I never knew that guy. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, who the fuck's that stinking tramp?
Who's Andrew
Burkett?
Burkett? Who's Burkett?
But friends do have a tendency to kind of come and go.
You came up with, Chris.
What, Andra Bukaki?
What was it?
Raw Bukaki. Head over to Andrew's channel to see the best the best gay male Bukaki you've ever seen. Disgusting. Right. Shall we lighten the mood a little bit, gentlemen?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's enough talking about someone that nobody knows but me.
Yes, right. We did literally spend 20 minutes slagging off your mate.
No, but it was kind of the reason. It's not just about one person. It touches upon, can you forgive? When do you forgive? When do you get rid of people? That kind of. It's not about specifically him. About people. Everybody knows a complete arsehole, don't they? Come on.
I think if you have to weigh the pros and cons with somebody, it's probably time to cut c'est la vie.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have a friend, and he is an arsehole, and I'm still friends with him because I've known him a long, long time. But like, I was talking to a couple of mates when I was back in the UK earlier this year, and they were like, "Do you know what? I don't want anything to do with him anymore." And I was kind of like, "Well, I don't really have that choice because I've known him so long." And he's not. He is one of those people that could get quite vindictive with you when you're just winding each other up, and then you're like, "Why are you saying that shit?" Because you know that gets under my skin. But he's also one of those people that's kind of like, the world owes me something, but I don't owe it anything back. And he's also one of those people that you go to the pub with and be like, "Can I borrow 20 quid?" And you know you're never going to see it again. So all my other mates kind of like, "Do you know what? I don't really want anything to do with them anymore." And he also fucked up, like, I'm sure he doesn't listen to me, so it doesn't matter. But he also, like, one of my mates had a girl he was really into. He went to her and told her all the worst possible things about him she could, so she wasn't into him anymore. It's just like,
Yeah, fucked up.
why do people do those kind of things to each other? Like,
number of reasons, but now we're talking about your friend that nobody
yeah,
knows.
sorry, but mine was 1
Switch.
minute, and I've got it off my chest.
Jealousy. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could come from a place of jealousy. Maybe those people, they like to make themselves sound like they're above you, but their lives are probably a lot more sad and depressing than yours are.
May I refer to a book I'm currently reading?
The Gay Bible.
No, the different one. I mentioned it before. It's called Self-It, How the West Became Self-Obsessed by Will Storr. This guy went to a place called Asalian, I think it was. It's like a kind of spiritual retreat that got a lot of criticism back in the 70s because there was some like suicide when people got this treatment.
Right.
And it talks about what the self actually is. So what do you consider you to be? If you think about it, you're not your memories, you're not your emotions. What are you? And it talks about how the self develops, so what your sense of self is. And it's very interesting because what it says is it's a combination of everything that your mother and father said to you when you were younger. You grew, you know, obviously this isn't you. Everybody knows that you sort of created by your environment.
Right.
But what I always try and look at with, like, say, I'm sorry to bring him back into it, but we could say your friend Adam.
Okay.
We look at him, the way that he is. It isn't who he is in his deepest, who he truly is. It's a combination of, there's something in this book that says, if a parent or someone, it doesn't have to be a parent, it could be a teacher, says one thing to you at one particular point in your life and calls you slow, you'll remember that for the rest of your life, and it will affect you in a negative way forever, unless you have the ability when you get older to get over it, because you'll not even know that put into your head at that point could destroy your whole life. And these people who you consider to be arseholes, they have had unfortunate... do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, but there's a point where you have to say, but this person's being an arsehole to me. I don't care what's happened previously. You don't.
100%.
You have to treat people with respect.
Of course.
It also goes with positive things that people have said to you as well. They'll stick to you for the rest of your life. I became a teacher because of a teacher. So...
Well, let's talk about some positive things. What's the most positive, influential thing anyone's ever said to you during your life?
Who, me?
But both of you.
Oh shit, dude! I can't think off the top of my head.
Some guy said to me, "You're all right, you," the other week. That right?
Well, it's better than nothing, isn't it? I mean, we all want validation to an extent, don't we? We all want people to say, okay, you're a good guy, you're a nice guy. Like, I think I've mentioned it before. When I first started doing YouTube, long before I started this channel at all, I suffered from really bad anxiety because of the comment section. Like, I would upload a new video and I couldn't go to sleep.
Terry's just made a great point. I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but I do like doing that. Same as you hear many Terry said, you hear many compliments, but one criticism, and the criticism hits you harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's true, isn't it?
As an artist, I feel that. Yep.
That's the thing. Like, in regards to YouTube, I had to put like a restriction on myself from replying to comments before midday, because when I woke up, I was in an arsehole mood, and because I'm not a morning person. And if I had like one...
Or a day person.
To be honest, I just don't like anything that's not sleeping or drinking. But I used to, like, I would get like a negative comment. I wouldn't reply. There'd be like 10 positive comments. Wouldn't reply to any of them. It would be the negative comment. I'd get into a proper war in the comment section with them. Like, you know, well, if you're going to be mean about me, why'd you bother watching my videos? And then it would just spiral and snowball. And rather than just like blocking that person from the channel or whatever, I would just get into a big, you know, I had one guy that wanted to fight me. He was like, put your address up so I can come and fight you. And I was like, well, one, I'm not going to dox myself in my own comment section, and two, I don't really want to fight anyone. But yeah, just some people are arseholes, some people are good people. Keep the good ones around you and cut the arseholes out. Let them form their own friend group and they can all be arseholes to each other.
Right, they can all be an asshole circle jerk.
You're 100% right. What I was getting at is that even though you cut people out, don't make an identity out of them and say that they are inherently evil, because I don't think anything is as straightforward as that. People are just lost and they lack the motivation or the inclination to go the right way, and there's always going to be people like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I know.
But it's also about coping skills, guys.
Yeah.
You know, some people just haven't learned to self-reflect, or they lack empathy, so they can't. But a lot of people, and I find it in my field, is I'm dealing with more kids that don't really have special needs as much as they don't have coping skills. But when you take a look at their family life, and we're expecting them to sit still in a seat, it's really hard. So, you know, part of my job is to help give these kids guidance and coping skills to help them get through their environment, because I've had the same, you know, similar upbringing to some of these kids that I work with.
There's something that you're going to know more about than me, Chris, and I've noticed recently a lot of unruly parents, or should I say parents that are not great, when their kids engage in unruly behaviour, they will just pass it off that that's because of his ADHD, rather than actually saying, actually, you're a shit parent and you've done a shit job. You can't hide behind this fucking ADHD. Do you get where I'm coming from?
No, I deal with parents like that every day.
I'm a little bit old-fashioned, and I know we did that stream the other day talking.
Just because you have ADHD doesn't mean you don't know what the rules are.
Yeah, exactly.
But like talking about gender fluidity and this sort of thing. But I think we're in a world now where like, and people might dislike what I'm about to say, but fuck it. But I think we're in a world now where people do treat each other badly or aren't very considerate or empathetic. And then they turn around and they go, well, it's because I've got this condition. And it's like, well, fuck blaming it. Why can't you just take responsibility? Well, no one else does. But
no one else does.
But why can't you just take responsibility and go, you know, I mean, unless you're a diagnosed sociopath or a psychopath, you don't really have an excuse for not having empathy to your fellow man.
It's too hard to do. It's too hard to go, oh shit, I have a problem with this, I need to work on it. It's too hard for people to do this.
It's a good point.
Everyone is so fucking mollycoddled.
It's harder to be a good person. It's easier.
It's fucking so hard, man.
Yeah.
I fight it every day not to be a complete dickhead.
But really, do you not? I mean, sometimes if someone pisses me off, and especially here in Spain, like someone pushes in the queue, and it happens a lot, and I come from Britain where we respect queues, but like, it pisses me off, but I might send them a horrible look, but I can't. Do you not think it's more effort being an arsehole than it is just to be a, you know, perhaps not a saint or anything, but a generally decent person?
What's the first reaction you have when some guy pushes you through the line?
Pushes into the line?
Yeah, pushes into the line. What's the first reaction you have? Genuine. Just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's harder to be nice. There you go, I answered your question.
But that's only because I feel that someone's wronged me. I've been in that queue waiting for longer. You don't have a right to go in front of me in that queue.
It's really hard to let it go. It's really hard to just say that.
I agree.
That's so hard. It takes, for me especially, it takes so much willpower. I literally have to tell myself, don't you do it. Don't you fucking do it. Let it go. You'll be happier. Just let it go. I have to literally do that like 30 times a day.
No, I mean, I when I worked as a flight attendant, I met arseholes every single day. Because
get better at coping with it. That's what I'm saying. It's all back to the.
Well, I had to leave that job. I've talked about that story before, but I had to leave because I just couldn't deal with it. I thought I was going to end up hitting someone. But I, for the most part, think I was always polite and provided a good service to the people on.
Everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah, I did, and it happened that day when we were stuck on the ground for 2 hours, and of course, everyone gets unrested. They're like, we're literally home, and we want to get off the plane, and we can't because there's been a mess up with the air bridge. But of course, me being the first point of contact is my fucking fault. And then the guy starts getting really nasty and aggressive, and saying all this stuff like, all cabin crew are gay, and I'm like, well, I'm not gay, and it just, I mean, it was a real schoolyard argument. And I just thought, if this guy doesn't stop, I'm going to get up and hit him. And the other guy like I was working with was like, no, you need to call the captain if this guy's getting out of hand. And I was like, well, yeah, I don't need the captain to come and fight my fucking battles for me. And I thought, but he's following protocol. Whereas I'm like, just, I'm a man just as much of a, just because I can't fly a plane, it doesn't make me less of a man than the captain. I need to stand up for myself here. And then I realised, though, some people will push you. They'll push you to breaking point, and at some point you will break, and you go, that's not on, and you'll just turn it. And I'm not a violent person. I've only ever been in 2-3 fights in my whole life. But that guy, I honestly, like, my blood was boiling, and I had visions of me just walking down the aisle and smacking him as hard as I could in the face. And I thought, if this is how people are making me feel in this job, this isn't for me anymore.
I did
work on a plane.
Oh no! You probably shouldn't have. When he was berating you, you probably shouldn't have fought back, and maybe he wouldn't have got to an escalated level. But I see why you did. Like, I'm not saying.
It's the normal reaction. What you've
done. I get it. But I deal with kids who feed off of me if I give into their tantrums. I have to deal with this a lot. We have kids who just will literally tear a room apart, and you really have to watch what you say. You have to watch your body language, and it takes years and years and years of practice. But it's not really easy to do, and sometimes, we do trigger them, and we do cause it to escalate with what we say and how we react to it. But I'm not saying that it's what you did was wrong or right. I'm just saying, in that instance, if but everyone has a breaking point. I've had to walk away from kids and tap out and put another teacher in the room during those because I couldn't maintain it anymore. I was, so. I get it, man.
No, and I've worked with kids, not ones with special needs. But
I've worked with kids as well.
Yeah, but your work, it just leads to your pleasure.
It's way more intimate than mine.
Yeah, but no, I worked with kids, and I had to leave that because I just couldn't stand it. They were little shits. But there you go. Maybe I'm not as good a person as I'm making myself out to be, but at least I walk away when I realise that something isn't for me. But it really,
and that's a big step, just what you said. Most people can't even do that, Adam, so don't sell yourself too short.
You're not perfect,
working with kids,
Adam, but
working with kids is hard.
You do have the ability to kind of admit and realise when maybe you're not acting in maybe the highest way, which most people don't have that ability.
No,
self-reflection.
I mean, like, I don't mean to give away too much of my sordid might not be the right word here, but debauchery-ridden past. But, like, I used to go out, I'm about to say it anyway, on a Friday and take something that made everyone love each other. Why can't people be like that more of the time?
What, be on ecstasy?
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what I meant.
Wouldn't that be an awesome world to live in?
Yeah, if we all just took ecstasy, the world would be a better place.
If we all took ecstasy, the world would be a better place.
But no, like, because when you, like, it's the one drug that just kind of made you think, everyone's great and I'm so happy with the world, and you just went and hugged your mates. You wouldn't normally hug
your worries.
Well, if I can just sort of interject, I love that we say that word a lot, don't we?
You two do. It makes you guys sound fucking smart.
It's a bit like saying the word narcissism. No, but if all that existed was love, you wouldn't know what love was, because that's all there was.
That's very profound.
I do that. That's very yeah. It's very deep.
It is, but it's true. We have to have the shit to appreciate the good.
But I think we've experienced shit.
But there's too much shit in this world, as we all know.
There's no balance, no force.
No, the balance in the force the balance in the force was supposed to have been restored when the Sith were destroyed.
Shut up, we don't talk about that on my channel.
Unfortunately, Rian Johnson ruined that.
We don't talk about this shit on my channel. I'll shut the stream down if Star Wars gets mentioned again.
Oh, calm down, you old woman.
I don't want to talk about a movie I've never seen. And Ryan's Johnson.
Yeah, Ryan fucking Johnson.
Anyway, right. Can we please just have a topic that's fun?
Well, it's your
The room
choice.
is always fun.
I don't-
The room is always fun. I just saw a trailer where somebody would put Tommy Wiseau in Avengers Endgame trailer. It was hilarious.
Oh, did you like the
Can
tweet
we
I sent
talk
you?
about The Room for a bit? Because it's probably one of my favourite things in the world.
Well, The Room is happy and fun. It is.
I don't think I'll ever get... Because I don't think I'll ever get bored of that movie. And I've not watched it in about a month, and I'm due to watch it again. Even the first, bit where, the first scene was, "Hi, Denny," just the way that his voice just sounds comical.
Remember, he dubbed it. Every time you watch it, remember he dubbed over his own lines.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they? Sorry, I've just been put off because Rockers suggested we talk about mutual masturbation.
I think I'll yeah, all right.
Between your friends or your...
Well, I think with your
Spouses.
partner. No, do you know? Right, maybe divulging a bit too much, but mutual masturbation is great before getting involved with someone physically. If you're right next to someone and you get you sorry, this is going to get a bit sordid now. I apologise, and it's Rocker's fault, but if they're playing with themselves, you're playing with yourself. Like, damn, that body's hot, and hopefully they're looking at you thinking the same thing, and then afterwards you get to do it with them. It adds a whole new kind of level of sexuality, or not sexuality, but hotness. So, guys and girls, if your sex life needs some spicing up, try a bit of mutual masturbation before you. Happy Day said not a good topic. Sorry. Try a bit of mutual masturbation, and then get it on with your partner, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about mutual masturbation with animals?
Whoa.
Do animals masturbate?
Monkeys do,
seen a
don't
video-
they?
Yeah, monkeys will pleasure themselves.
And I did read that dolphins were supposedly the only other animals that have sex for pleasure rather than simply procreation.
How do we know that? We talk to
Well,
them and go, "Hey man, did you just fuck her for fun?" or
well,
are you
we
trying to
can
make a baby
communicate. We can
Yeah,
communicate.
but
with,
how does he strap on a Johnny? Did he go, right, I'm just going to rub her up before I do this, dolphin?
Listen, I didn't
rape her
conduct
in
the
the
fucking
ocean? What the fuck?
I didn't conduct the study myself. I just said I fucking read it. All right.
No, I have actually heard
I
it.
didn't
I'm not
jump into the
disagreeing.
No,
Ocean with a fucking dildo and swim round up to a fucking dolphin.
Fuck it. You'll get kicked out of SeaWorld for that.
It happens.
Yeah, trust
Have
me,
you
I
seen
would
that?
know.
Have you seen that Simpsons where in that Troy McClure? I thought you said he sleeps with the fishes. No, what was it he said?
Yeah,
He says,
I thought you said
I thought you said he was dead. No, what I said was
he
he
sleeps with the
fishes.
fishes. Yeah. That's fucking.
You see, no, I don't want to know.
That's
I
one
have
of the
I have a
quotes I
romantic
do remember.
abnormality that's so bizarre it must be kept out of the public at all costs.
Speaking of dolphins, we went on a school field trip some years ago, and I brought a bunch of school kids aged like 6-year-olds, and it was like 20 of us, and we just got up to the dolphins, and right as we got there, they all started having sex, like 4 of them. They were just having a gay old time.
Oh, it's just
And
like
the kids,
so. The dolphins
the
have a
kids
lot.
were shocked.
The
I'd
dolphins.
have joined in.
The dolphins have a lot in common with Andy. They see children, they get horny.
Kids were screaming.
Only with the sexy ones.
Some of them were crying. We were laughing.
Imagine if you were a kid that Andy wasn't attracted to. That's got to be like the most disappointing thing ever. like,
Oh,
like,
what's
he's,
the matter? What happened? Andy doesn't want to fuck me.
he's fucked all the other kids in my class, but he said I was too ugly.
Well, son, there's no coming back from this. I'll get the rope.
I'll get the fucking
Oh.
Wow. Well, we've gone dark
Yeah.
but funny. which is good.
Anyway, how was your sex
That
life?
was just well.
Who are you talking to, motherfucker?
In a minute, bitch.
Yeah, in a minute, bitch. I love the way the whole way through the film, like Johnny's such a great guy. Johnny's such a great guy, and then at the end he's just like, bitch, bitch.
Do you know what's funny when Mark's on phone to Lisa all of a sudden he goes, I don't even like that guy anymore. He's like, hang on a minute, what's he done to you? You've been cheating on his fucking missus for the past month.
He's like, I love the way he does like the least manly thing possible at the end. He locks himself in the bathroom. She's like, Johnny,
stands by the door.
Yeah, he like goes off to sulk in the bathroom and locks the door. And she's like, Johnny, you coming out in a minute, bitch?
You and your fucking mother.
Yeah. Fuck, guys! If you haven't watched The Room, you need to watch The Room. It is an absolute pleasure.
Where do you, Chris, you're the film guy, right? Where do you rank it in entertainment value? Not as an actual film, but as like entertainment value on a percentage scale, like saying, I don't know, Empire Strikes Back is 100% or whatever. Where would you put this?
It's really high. It's really hard to say because I don't know, man.
I don't think.
I'll give it like a 1 out of 10. Like if that's what you want, if you want to rank it, it's enjoyable as hell. It's hard to put it up there with Empire. I think I'd watch a few movies before I'd watch it, but it's in my top 5 go-to films to rewatch and still laugh at. I mean, it's one of the very few that I can go back and watch it and not be bored with it. So it says a lot. It's not high art. It shouldn't belong on any of my fucking lists, but it's there. I appreciate it.
It's a unique experience, isn't it?
It is fucking. It's.
I don't think there's any other film that I come back to as often as The Room over the last couple of years. Like, it's very rare I watch a movie more than a couple of times. Like, you might, something like perhaps Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, I've probably seen those in total, but over a longer period of time than The Room. But over the last couple of The Rooms, like, if I just want a movie to laugh at, and that's the trouble, you are laughing at it rather than with it, because it doesn't know it's funny, and that's probably what makes it quite so funny. But that's probably the movie I've come back to the most times over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I suppose there isn't really a film like it. You put it quite well there, because obviously comedies, you laugh with them. But it's like the crazy mate who doesn't know he's funny because he's so stupid.
Yeah.
We all know something like
Lee.
that, don't we? It's like this guy's that daft, right? We used to play Tekken. Did you guys ever play Tekken?
Of course.
Tekken on the PlayStation fighting game
Tekken
where there was
3.
like Hayachi and...
Yeah, it got silly. Tekken 4 got silly because they brought in the bloke on the roller skates and you couldn't beat him.
There was a move that Jin Kazuya did, which was basically you'd kick low, kick high, and then kick low again. And we, this crazy mate who was that funny but didn't know it, no matter how many times you told him to block that move, he couldn't get his head around the fact that you had to block low and then high, and we just consistently did it on him every time we played it, and we pissed ourselves laughing because he just couldn't fucking block this move, and we'd do the spinny thing with our hand because it was like a spinny kick, and he was like, oh, it was just so funny. It's like, how fucking thick is this guy? And we talk about it now, 20 years ago.
What?
Some guys came round the other week and we were having a laugh about it. We said, do you remember that fucking kick that Casey couldn't block? So funny.
The thing is, the way you put it there, it does sound like it might have kind of a maliciousness to it. Like, I've known people like that don't know they're funny because they're kind of a bit stupid, no offence to them, but their heart's always been in the right place. You end up kind of loving them more for that.
Luckily, though, this guy that I'm telling you about, the kind of stupid guy who can't block the move, he's a bit of an arsehole, so it's justified.
Well, that's fine then.
Don't go too far with it. It's not like we cause him any harm. We just kind of laugh at him.
No.
But it's kind of like some force takes over me where I can't actually like stop. I know I shouldn't, but I can't stop laughing.
Like when we were walking in the mountains.
Oh yeah, but you said something very comical, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't think we can talk about that on the stream.
No.
Oh. Actually, weirdly, you just made me think when to come back to your mate, which we've talked about for like half the stream, but it made me. I did have. I guess he wasn't really a close friend, but an acquaintance, and he did something that morally I couldn't agree with, and I never spoke to him again.
What did you do?
Right, how to put this correctly? We were on a lads' holiday together, our first ever lads' holiday, and we met some girls. 2 of the 3 girls were quite compos mentis, fine. We're chatting to them. One of them was paralytic, like could barely walk, and he took her back to.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
Oh,
yeah, you can guess where it goes, and I didn't want to be friends with that guy anymore. I felt, okay, perhaps legally it's not rape, but it's close enough for me not to want anything to do with the person like that anymore.
How I've had sex with like being drunk kind of shenanigans before. How drunk are we talking here?
I'm talking at one point she fell asleep in her seat.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
that's too drunk.
But technically, I mean, we're getting into dark territory here again, Adam, unfortunately.
Yes,
but you fucking brought it up.
I did.
But that would be now classed as rape.
Yeah,
because
non-consensual.
Do you know the footballer in England? Was it Chad Evans?
Yeah, Chad Evans, or Adam Johnson was the one that had sex with the underage girl, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a mate. Never mind. But
it's a mate of mine. That's my hero.
No, the point is, Chad Evans got done for rape and got convicted because the woman said she was too drunk to consent. It got overturned on appeal. And I always read about that case, and I thought, I think he's been a bit outdone to this guy. This girl was seen on CCTV walking into the hotel, completely compos mentis, and it apparently happened not long after that. But anyway, I suppose we're going way off topic here, but
yeah,
no, I mean that's pretty dark, Adam. Obviously,
no, it is. But someone like that, I don't want people like that in my life because I like I said before, I like to live in a little bubble where I pretend nothing bad really ever happens. Although at the same time, I do have a weird obsession with true crime. But I think I'm quite good at keeping myself kind of removed from it. So I think if people are dicks, you shouldn't be around. In a way, it worked out well because he was really good friends with another friend of mine, and I was like, look, do you want that guy being your best man at the wedding, or do you want a legend like me? And he was like, of course I want you. So I got to be best man at his wedding. So that's the positive side of that story.
Have you seen what Rocker's just put?
Yeah, that's fucked, Rocker. I mean, I guess girls can do it to each other too. Yeah, that's pretty. Like, you shouldn't be taking advantage of people when they're passed out. At the same time, I think we've discussed this maybe quite recently before as well, but at the same time, I think a lot of people, they get drunk and they sleep with someone they perhaps wouldn't have done if they were sober, and they wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, what have I done? Oh, what's the best way to get out of this? Not a lot of people, but I'm sure in some circumstances that happens. And
that you'd be surprised how often that actually happens. That's very statistically, that happens a lot. And that happens in a lot of cases where girls cheat on their boyfriends.
Yeah.
And then they, after guilt, they claim they were raped, so they don't have to own up to it.
Yeah, I mean that's despicable because it detracts from everyone who's truly been a victim of what is the worst possible crime.
Yeah, and we should say that is still quite rare. Obviously, that's a terrible thing, and obviously very few women do that.
Well, here's an interesting question. If you're drunk and the other person's drunk and you have sex with them, that's cheating. Yes, but to use the excuse that I was drunk, for me, that doesn't fly. How do you guys feel about that?
Sorry, Chris, I don't think
could you rephrase or just
okay? So your girlfriend cheats on you because she was drunk, right? And she says the reason why she did it was because she was drunk. Do you accept that excuse? Is that a valid excuse to cheat? Oh, I was drunk.
No, not for me. No,
not for me either.
I think I can go out. I know it makes us more susceptible or suggestible. It makes us more suggestible, but
how do you get people more
suggestible?
Does that work on any age group?
Why are you going to start getting kids drunk now? Hey kids, I've got a bottle of Blue WKD here. Why don't you just come under this swing with me? No, but it's... I think, and it's irresponsible to get to the point of drunkenness where you don't know what you're doing.
Right. So, if a girl does that and they get that fucking paralytic, that in that drunken state they will sleep with anything, can they then claim they were taken advantage of? Because there's a lot of women like that, because we've all been with them.
Fuck, this is a real huge grey area.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Now we're getting into some grey.
Yeah, it's like, to come back to your question, Chris, I don't think, the thing is, maybe it's when we're kids and we're 17, 18, 19 and we've just started drinking or whatever, you could get away with it then, but your relationships then aren't really meaningful because you're still discovering yourself as a person, and you still really don't know what you want. You could be in a relationship, you know, when you're 17, 18 and then quite happily fuck someone else because...
Right, you're not taking that relationship all that serious.
Exactly. And you might say, okay, I was drunk, I made a mistake, I'm not a good person or whatever. But I think once you're sort of past like 24, 25 and if you... It's irresponsible of the person. If they... The trouble is, and it does kind of hark back to what Andy was saying, but like what you've said there, Chris, if your partner goes, or she or he goes, well, I was drunk, so I fucked them, that's not an excuse. So they go, well, I was paralytic. And it's like, well, did they take advantage of you? And this kind of comes back to what Andy was saying, because it's very easy for them to turn around and go, oh, yeah, that's exactly what happens. But that is tantamount to saying, well, I was raped. And if it was me and my partner said that to me, I'd go straight around the person's house and do something quite unpleasant, because no one deserves to be raped or taken advantage of. However, if someone fucks someone consensually and then says, oh, well, I was drunk, nah, it's not good enough for me. I would just walk away straight away. I would be like, nah, you're a piece of shit.
Yep.
Yep.
Fucking piece of shit.
Pizza.
Pizza ship. I found a pizza ship to the moon. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
CG met Teresa when she was drunk and you want her as your wife. Well, that's fine, CG. You know, if you're going to marry her, and do remember that you shouldn't have sex outside of wedlock. So if you're going to marry her, CG, I wish you all the best in your future endeavours. As long as I get an invite to the wedding. Probably best man, being a legend. And sorry, I've just watched this show a day ago or 2 days ago called Stag. I don't know if you've seen it, Andy. It's unlikely you would have seen it, Chris. It's actually quite similar to that film. What was it that we both saw? Caliber.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah, well, it was kind of similar to like that, but it was more comedic. It had some really good comedy actors in it. But it was a 3-part BBC series from 2015 that I didn't even know existed. And it had Tim Key in it. Guys in the chat, if you don't know who Tim Key is, he's a comedy poet and he's absolutely fantastic. He's also in the new series of Alan Partridge at the moment as well. But it had Tim Key in it and also had Rhys Shearsmith from The League of Gentlemen, which is one of my favourite UK comedies ever. But so I was like, oh, I've got to watch this. I didn't even know this existed. But it was, yeah, the best man was called Ledge in it, and that's why I keep calling myself a legend while talking about being best man. I think subconsciously or even consciously that slipped into my head. But yeah, if you get a chance to watch that, it's on Netflix actually. Well, Netflix UK anyway, or Netflix Spain.
Can we talk about animal masturbation again?
No.
What? No, I think we're...
Alright.
Do you know, Andy, if you really want that, like, there are people that have to do that for a job so that animals can inseminate.
Oh, you mean to get, like,
animals.
cows off and shit?
Yeah. So you
and horses.
Yeah. You'll just have to learn to wank with your left hand so that you can wank the cow with your right.
But after you're done wanking off a horse with that big ass wiener of his, and you go back to wanking your wiener, I mean, do you ever get size envy?
Oh, I don't want to wank this tiny cock anymore. Give me that horse dick.
Listen, I've never seen this, right? I believe there's some quite graphic, like, porn animal videos out there.
Yeah.
I like, someone showed me like a video at work. I don't know whether it was real or not, but it freaked me out. I can't even begin myself to describe. Anyway, let's change the fucking subject. Let's
Yeah,
talk about
well, you're the one that wanted to talk about animal masturbation. Don't bring it up if you can't go through with it.
Because from a comical aspect.
But it's not comical because it's harmful to the animal. Does that animal want to be wanked off?
Probably.
They ejaculate, and I see that there was no problem with that.
You've got to stop thinking about animals the same way you think about kids.
They're going to start a hashtag #us2 movement.
Yeah, CG said YouTube's going to block you, Andy, when they find out about all your stuff.
Probably.
Start with a dog, move up to a horse.
It's not happened already.
Right.
Start taking responsibility for yourself, Andy.
Yeah, if you're going to do that stuff to animals, then stuffed animals. Sorry, I don't know why I shouted that. Anyway.
Do you remember when we were talking the other week, Adam, and just randomly in conversation, I says, fucking hell, I knew this girl. She fucking had, she cheated on a fucking fella with all these fucking guys. Anyway, one of them found out, beat her up so bad, she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
Funny story, Andy.
Funny story. Oh,
you know what they say? Love is blind.
It's his laugh that he does before it. He goes, haha, funny story, Mark. Well, it wasn't a funny story.
It's horrible. It's like the girl's just been beaten up. Ha ha ha, funny stuff. I love it in the Disaster Artist when they cover that bit.
When he like says, you are tearing me up. Just before then, Lisa goes, don't you know women change their minds all the time? And he goes, haha, you must be joking, aren't you? That sentence doesn't even make any sense. You must be joking, aren't you? Yeah. That's not even a proper sentence.
It would have sounded better if he said, you must be joking, aren't you, comma, or the way he delivered it, yeah.
So he didn't deliver his own lines properly.
No. Tommy's just, Lisa loves you as a person, as a human being.
Oh, but I still want you to do a review of that movie on your channel, Chris. Why the fuck have you not done that?
Because I get the mic ready and I'm like, I can't say anything that hasn't already been said. See ya, watch The Room, it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to say?
Even PewDiePie has made a video about The Room. It is fully mainstream if PewDiePie is making videos about him.
I don't know what I could bring.
No, but you can basically say, why do you think it's so entertaining? Because I still fully don't understand it myself.
It's funny because we're laughing at it, not with it.
I know, but it still doesn't make like...
It's the same reason that you find Lorne Armstrong funny.
Not the same.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
the filmmaker, the indie. I mean, if you guys seen some films I made a long time ago, it reminds me of me. Like I feel a little bit of it. I could be Tommy Wiseau. I've been in projects that I thought were excellent, and then it didn't take me. And then everyone. It's just the things that went on set, the mindset that Tommy has, everyone around him, all that. I've been a part of stuff like that, and it makes it even more enjoyable, but also like there's a little bit of me. I could be that naive as a filmmaker myself.
Do you disagree?
I can get caught up in myself so much that I won't be able to see I laid a turd, and Tommy probably didn't know it until like maybe the cult following happened. I don't think Tommy fully understood he laid a turd.
Yeah. Do you disagree with this statement that Tommy Wiseau?
No, he must understand it now.
I think he does now.
Do you disagree with this statement that Tommy Wiseau is or was deluded as to his abilities as a filmmaker?
Oh, he was definitely deluded.
No, but isn't that an obvious statement, though?
Well, I'm asking you, yeah, so you can just say, I agree.
I agree.
Right. Therefore, it's the same reason that you get the same kind of, you get that comedy out of it. It's the same reason that you were attracted to Lorne, Andy, because he was funny without realising he was being funny because he was so deluded. You can draw parallels there.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
His Lorne reality shit, yes.
Yeah.
His Catch a Predator fucking shit.
No, well, no, not so much that. I mean,
not so much that. But yes, his, hello everybody, welcome to my cooking show.
He sounds like Elvis.
Yeah. Today we're going to be cooking some Barkless bites.
Alright, I can't. Porkless bites and he's gonna spin a flat
Porkless
hat on his finger.
Who came up with porkless bites?
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
SJW vegan.
Yeah, porkless bites. It's just mouthfuls of air.
It's just tofu.
Actually, I quite like some tofu sometimes.
I don't mind it. I'm just saying, like, look. Anyway,
well, we've been going almost exactly an hour, gentlemen. So I think we had some fun towards the end. We've slagged off Andy's mate for ages and talked about cooking little boy pulled pork for Andy. What?
I don't want to eat them.
He doesn't eat them. He lets them live. That's the worst part about it.
If they're dead, they can't cry.
But that's the worst. Andy would
crying really. It's a mood killer.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's you know what. What's that stuff you put on handkerchiefs and put in front of people's mouths called?
Chloroform.
That's what chloroform's for. No, I'm joking, of course, but no, that's the worst thing about Andy's kind of criminality is that he doesn't. I mean, most of the kids are like, after what he's done to them, are like, just kill me, just put me out of my misery. But he's like, no, you've got to live with that for the rest of your life.
That's my gift to you.
That's
it's the gift that keeps on giving.
You made me do this.
Look what you made me do.
Matt is asking for your username, Andy. Can you just put a quick message in the chat? So, well, both of you put a quick message in the chat. Then you guys in the chat, you can sub to these reprobates channels. Just click on there. Oh, he's a moderator. Not that he does anything. He's the laziest moderator ever.
No, I've been trying to accept people's comments, but you did it first.
Oh, I'm just too fast. That's what she said. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh.
We do a lot of kind of quotes when we talk together that I guess a lot of people in the chat have no idea what we're talking about.
No, they just think we're stupid or having a spastic moment. I don't know what they think, but
you're probably right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, I think it's probably time to wrap it up.
Do we have to wrap it up? Because Rocker's talking about molested horses.
Yeah, but would you rather be here talking about it or outside doing it?
That's a good point. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap this up immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that made me laugh.
Well, because it was funny.
Let's go horse masturbating, guys.
That's right. So we're off to milk some horses. I'm not joining.
You bloody well are.
You're not being part of my friend group if you won't wank off a horse.
Horse, you can't be my friend.
The ultimate test of friendship.
Who will win?
Who will win? 2 men, 2 horses, 1 bucket of cum.
Oh dear.
Right, and on that note, on that disgusting yet pleasant, no, not pleasant. I don't even know anymore. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, in the chat. I hope you've had a good time. I'm sorry it's a little bit all over the place. We didn't really have a subject, but we just wanted to have a chat. And
we had lots of decent subjects.
Well, but we wanted to. We wanted to have some fun with you guys. If you have enjoyed it, do hit the like button. If you haven't enjoyed it, just don't do anything. And thank you so much for spending your time with us. Andy has put his name in the chat. You might need to link your channel, Andy. Or if one of my lovely moderators would be so kind as to link Andy's channel, that would be.
But if I make a comment, then you can click on my name.
Yeah, just make another. There you go. Matt, you see Andy's channel is there. That's his name there, Andrew Burkett. And just click on.
Into child abuse, that's the channel to go.
Yeah, if you want to learn how to be the best predator in the land, that's the channel to follow. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us as always, and thanks to my panel of pedos.
How did Chris get painted with his brush?
He said to me at the beginning, it was actually what is known in the stand-up comedy industry as a callback. And he said to me at the beginning he was ready for me to start making fun of him in the same way that I do you. So that was my callback to that at the beginning. So those of you who are at the beginning and listen to the end will see that I am amazing.
Yeah, but you just ruined your own callback by calling it out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for Savile approves. He absolutely does. Butler, next time that Mark and I stream and we've got the phone lines up, do make sure that you come and join us and phone in. I'd love to have a chat with you. You guys, if you haven't checked it out, and you two as well, I think Chris and I were watching it together the other day, weren't we? But Butler's got these fake adverts on his channel, which are just fucking brilliant.
Oh, they're hilarious.
They're really good. They're so weird yet brilliant. Go and check out Butler's channel. He does some scam betting and stuff as well, but he also I love his fake adverts so much. I need to buy myself a wig and then rip off exactly what he's been doing. But yeah, as always, thanks so much for joining.
You had that idea before, remember? About doing like dark web advertisements.
Oh well, you must have seen the advert reel I made. It's on this channel.
I remember it, yeah.
Yeah.
The Moorish crack.
The Moorish crack. Yeah, I think the mayonnaise was the best one. It was fucking weird. Just spraying mayonnaise all over my face, but making it look like it was something else, and then turning to the camera and going, mayonnaise, delicious.
Sorry.
But yeah, thank you guys, Andy and Chris, for joining me, and thank you again, everyone in the chat, and we'll say goodnight there. Say goodnight to the people.
Good night to the people.